wait on too much, you'll fear of the track every day. Slip out at first.
Right now, it's 2 miles a long
distance.
distance.
60 mile an hour from some.
Since early days, human beings have had a thirst to be the first to achieve an inconceivable feat. Humans build and tweak machines which have the sole purpose of breaking records in space, air, water, or on terra firma. In 1969, the lunar landing of Apollo 2 beat the Russians in the race to be the first to land on the moon. A race also pursued to break the speed of sound. A rocket-powered aircraft was launched from the bomb bay of a modified B-29. Whilst behemoth records are set above land, at the same time there thrives a fraternity of humble and extremely passionate speed chasers back on land. Nevada, Blackpool, France, Jordan, Daytona Beach, Bonneville Salt Flats, Bolivia and Pendine Sands in the UK are some of the main locations where land speed record attempts are fought for. Humans often may try something once and get bitten by the speed bug. They live with the feeling their last speed will never be enough. For this fraternity of man and woman, chasing speed is a very personal thing, for it is their own skill and machine against their surroundings. Each year, Pendine Sands Records event is run by straightliners on the legendary sands of speed. The pub is rammed and the locals are friendly, and over 2 days the personal ambitions of speed of incredible men and women are pursued on this iconic shoreline, some of whom will make history on their epic runs. The otherwise sleepy village of Pendine holds an existent natural secret. On its shores lies the longest stretch of flat sand in the whole of the UK. 7 miles of undisturbed sand, and with the right conditions this is ideal for land speed record attempts. At Pendine Sands the speed records run deep. Between 1924 and 1927, Pendine Sands was at the centre of attempts at the world land speed records, and in those years the record was pursued with huge passion, won and held here. On the 25th of September 1924, Malcolm Campbell was the first person to attempt a land speed record at Pendine Sands in his Sunbeam 350 horsepower car, the Bluebird. He set a world land speed record of 146.16 miles per hour. John Godfrey Parry Thomas also chased a speed record with his car called Babs, and on Wednesday the 28th of April 1926 he reached a speed of 170.624 miles per hour for the mile. But sadly, Thomas lost his life when his car Babs crashed on the 3rd of March 1927, whilst aiming to take back his record from Campbell's last achievement of 174.223 miles per hour.
Anything that's good fun, anything that's good, it's a good crack. It's fast, dangerous. It's just good fun. I've been reading performance bikes since I got into biking. This feature was written by my friend John McAvoy, and I was reading it. I'd never heard of Pendine ever. I read the article. I thought, I'm having a go at that. I chucked the bike in the van, drove 300 miles, signed on. It was actually amazing. So this is year 3. When you're on the bike, there's nothing else around you. So your sense of speed is ridiculous because you've got nothing to gauge it from. This year, I've been very lucky. A good friend, Dave Sevs, cheers Dave, has lent me his bike. That's a really, really nice thing to do. It's a CBR 1000 Fireblade 2012. The difference between the spec it is in now for beach racing and track racing is only we take the front brake system off completely. You don't need your front brake on the sand. You don't want any front end weight transfer on the sand.
Tag Heuer are probably the best known timing equipment in the world, but it's a very, very simple system. As you run through the start beam, the clock starts and it gives you a time of day. As you run through the finish beam, it gives you another time of day. The clock deducts one from the other, and that is the time taken to cover that distance. The clocks can either give a time, or if we're doing certain distances, we can set the distance on the clock and then that will convert the time to a speed. So we generally run at the end of a 1 mile distance, standing start. We'll have an 80-foot trap where the start of the trap is at 80 foot from the finish line, and that gives us a speed over the last 80 foot, so that gives you a speed for that.
That's 24. I am. There's 2 in my class. There's 2 in Dean's class. Stewie's alright, because there's only 1 in his class. So he's battling himself. Yeah, just wait and see. Hopefully they're going to be a standing 2 mile course with a flying quarter, so there's records there to be had. Hopefully, maximum like 2 each.
You'll get from that measured point is you will get a flying mile, which you've not done before. You've always had a standing mile speed trap method. That standing start will give you a standing 2 mile course with a speed trap at the end of it. Alright? So that'll be one record that's new to you that you will pick up. You'll pick up the flying mile, which is new, you won't understand that. And you'll also pick up a quarter mile, which is set up on the inside. The idea is to run a quarter mile flyer today and a kilometre flyer tomorrow. So giving you all the options.
Their wheels slipping on the sand. Ben and I are now driving down to the camp where all the riders and the teams basically have set pitch. You know, it's just like Bonneville, where only the riders and teams are allowed to bring their vehicles and bikes.
Fishing rod, isn't it? No.
I'm excited.
Whoa, what's paintwork?
Come on, Kenzie.
I really don't think you're safest person to be doing this.
I'm alright.
We have so many classes based on the Bonneville classes, which goes from, you take the frame, what's a frame type, engine type, fuel type, and the CC of the bike, so that splits it all down into the various classes. So I have a sheet, I have all the information as the rider's name is put in, of what class he's in, also what the record for that particular class is.
What do you reckon?
140.
148.406.
That'll do.
First year came on the CBR 400. The record was 118. I just tweaked that to 120. The guy I took it off, Andy Lincoln Smith, was the first person that come shake my hand after I beat his record. It just shows good sportsmanship, and that's what it's all about. The second year, I came with the GSXR 600. The record was 137. I took that to 150. That was held by Helen Lincoln Smith, that's Andy's wife. So every time I've come and taken a record from someone. This year, the third year, the record was 161, and I've just tweaked that to 162. We're going to go back out again today, and hopefully I'm going to get a little bit more. But yeah, 3 years, 3 records.
We get a new track every day, created by nature, so we have to put all the marks in for the various distances. We have to pick the best place on the track that's the flattest for the riders. It depends on the ferocity of the tide. Funnily enough, the more ferocious the tide, the better the surface. If it's a very, very slow tide, it tends to be ripply, so you're looking for a fairly good tide. We tend to run when it's full moon, so you get the highest tides, and that gives us the best beach.
Part of the charm of Pendine Sound's records event is it is still relatively low key and full of machines with character. This weekend, a moped, sidecars, a vintage Ford pickup, the world's fastest shed, and Zeph Eisenberg and his Porsche 911 Turbo S are all very different machines.
So you've been told the lights that you can see is a finish. Through the finish to the right with the blue van with the trailer on. Once you're through the finish, if you head towards the blue van and hold there, it's another mile on after the finish, so there's no rush to brake.
Louisa Swaden is a writer and motivational speaker. She helps motivate people to do things they may not normally do and believe in themselves. She's the only female riding this weekend on a 20-year-old 650cc Kawasaki ZX6R. It's her first ever time riding a sports bike at speed on the sand, and if you like, she's using this experience as an example to others that virtually anything is possible. She's also using this weekend to gain more experience before heading to Bonneville Salt Flats in America for later in the year to join friends in an Italian race team, where she'll be riding a 1300cc Hayabusa in an attempt to get both her rookie license and a D license. Having the D license will then allow her to run competitively on the infamous Bonneville Salt Flats in USA.
No, what happened was, going along in the turn off, and it was a lot more, because it was deeper than I thought, because it was full of water, it looked okay. Bang, front end went down, took me up in there. When the back end went down, so I come straight up, smashed through the bottom here. The hump went flying. That was just literally hanging out like this when I came back. That's where it's rubbing on the tyre and on the rim.
Different, not what I was expecting. Shaky at first, ground's slippy. But got to maybe about quarter of the way down, felt quite steady on it, wound it on a bit in fourth gear. Probably halfway down course, thought, yeah, this is alright. So, top gear, wound it on and just ran out of track. Got 104 first run. Need to get another 16 mile an hour from somewhere now. So.
Once a seed of speed has been planted in an individual, it rarely dies within them. Until the next time they run, engines will constantly be tweaked and tuned. Hours may pass in garages. It is a very personal passion, and many experience a feeling of nirvana, a sense of utter concentration and completeness. And that in itself is an ardour which cannot be denied.